Wow. 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 Okay. Well, we're not here to talk about the weather, are we? We're here getting everybody on board. So here is our agenda for today. We're going to be talking about Facebook ads. And today's webinar Wednesday, we're going to be doing something a little bit different than normal because Facebook ads are an area that I'm certainly not an expert on. It's something that we use a lot within the Dotto Tech group. But whenever we do it, even though I have working knowledge, Jen always coaches me through each step of the way because things are constantly changing. And even Jen, who does a lot with Facebook ads, is constantly trying to keep up with all of the changes. So we've got a goal today. We've got one objective today. We want to get you comfortable with the concept of 3 basic elements within Facebook ads. Now, even if you use Facebook ads a lot, it's a good idea to step back and to break it down. But our objectives are for you to understand the concept of building ads, what goes into an actual Facebook ad. The second concept, and the types of ads there are. The second concept we really need to understand is the audiences, how we deliver, how we choose who ads are delivered to, or even more importantly, how Facebook selects who your ad is being delivered to. And sometimes that is more art than science, it seems, to us. And then thirdly, there's a really kind of core piece that a lot of it revolves around, which is called the Facebook pixel. And it's that piece of code that gets dropped on you when you visit different types of sites so that we know exactly what is happening so that Facebook knows who you are and what you're doing so that they can create interactions and reactions to it. And it's a powerful tool. Some people consider it to be a bit of an invasion of privacy, and frankly, it is. But it's how advertisers know it's how when you visit a site, Teavana, and you start looking at chai tea, how next thing when you enter your Facebook profile, how there's suddenly tea ads appearing in your profile. It's how that little bit of magic happens. And that's something that if you're doing Facebook ads, you have to understand the mechanisms that are in place so that you can be the person that advertises to somebody who's interested. And we do it. We've done it with you. All of you in the past have been targeted by us here on Dotto Tech for Facebook ads because you're part of the community. You didn't necessarily receive those ads, but I tried to get them to you. I can assure you of that fact. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to be walking through that entire process today. But I want to start with a quick little poll. So basically, I'm going to be interviewing Jen, talking through the stuff, creating context, and Jen's our content expert on this.
Yes.
But the first thing I want to know is, are you currently using Facebook ads yourself?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much of our
audience. I'm just going to fire up a quick poll here and let you have at it. Now, while we're doing this, while you're entering the poll information, thank you all very much for that. I should let you know, April is in the chat room. If you're having any technical issues at all, let April know, and she will do her best to solve those issues. Oh, we have a big group already. We have 200 people on the call right now, on the webinar right now, which is superb.
Yeah.
And so far, I will publish the results here in a few minutes. We'll give you a few more seconds. But so far, 36% of you are running Facebook ads and 64% are not. So you've tried it. And, people who have run Facebook ads, a lot of times we've run them and I know very few people who finish doing even Facebook ads and go, wow, that was great. That was a
wonderful experience. Yeah, exactly.
Because Jen, there's so many unknowns. You're always wondering if you've done things right or if you could do things better. And for all that Facebook does well, they aren't good at creating an environment that's easy to understand with Facebook ads. I think we can say that right out of the gate, right?
No. Absolutely. You're very correct. Even, being very familiar using Facebook ads, going in there, it changes every day. You go in there and something else changes. And so
the tool moves or something like that.
Yep.
And the type of reporting that they give. And I've noticed this with our last few ad sets. The reporting has slowed down. We used to get really pretty, within 2 or 3 hours of you posting an ad, you were starting to get some feedback on how it was performing. Now it's like a 24-hour delay. So you run a series of ads and you almost have to fire and forget, put it out there and then let it percolate for 24 hours and gestate until you take a look at it again. It's certainly not something that you micromanage anymore either, is it?
Definitely not, especially when you're starting. I know that's one thing you like to go in and play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of people do. It's hard. It's hard for me even, but I like to give it at least 48 to 72 hours to really start getting in there before I start playing.
Okay, so I've just ended the poll, and you can see the results. 62% of you have not run Facebook ads, and 38% have. So I imagine we're going to get some really good and intelligent questions. So I'm really hoping that the chat is really active today, and once we get into the Q&A, that once we kind of go through the procedure, we'll go through a little bit of a presentation first. We don't have a pre-recorded video. We're going to do this live, but once we're through that, we'll get into the Q&A. And I'm going to apologize to people, but if your questions are too deep in the weeds, there's something we're going to put off and we're going to defer, because we want to make sure that everybody understands the basic concepts today. So if we get into the specifics, if you get into too specific a question, it's probably not going to be something that we are going to be able to, that we're going to want to spend too much time answering today, if that's fair. So as long as those ground rules are in place, let's begin with by talking about the different types of ads there are. And so when you create, so in Facebook, we all see the different type of ads appearing in our feed, so they should be familiar to us. But at the top level, what type of ads can we create? We can create a video ad. What else?
We can create images, and we can create a carousel ad. So a carousel ad is several images that kind of you can flip through.
And what are the strengths of each of these ad types?
The video ad is, the strength of the video ad is that you can, if it's done correctly. Now, there's a lot of different intricacies, and there's going to be so many areas, like you said, Steve, that we could go down a rabbit hole today. But with video ads, the goal is make them something you have text to overlay. Somebody can scroll and they don't have to turn on their volume. With these, you can get very low cost clicks. You can get the attention. Now, Facebook looks at a video view as anything 3 seconds or more. So you have 3 seconds to really gather their attention. If you do it correctly, they can be very cost effective.
And as Roberta says, Facebook likes video. And I think right now, Facebook, but Facebook is fickle. So Facebook likes video now. So anything we do in video now is probably going to be fairly successful. But in the past, when we just started running display ads with pictures, Facebook liked that at the beginning, and we got tremendous penetration and tremendous ROI, return on our investment, in the early days. And then it got progressively more expensive. I think we're kind of maybe at the top end of the downhill curve, where we're getting more value out of Facebook video ads, but I bet you that diminishes over time, that it starts costing more. Do you agree?
I agree. I've already seen it in some instances. It's still definitely one area that they're favoring, but I've seen it decline already. So, live video is all the rage. I've even seen that start to decline. So there's always going to be a kind of a sweetheart.
Early adopters in Facebook do get a benefit.
Yes.
From whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So for Facebook ads, so the type of businesses that are going to benefit most from video ads, are they people that are looking to get people to convert into an opt-in for a course or a webinar, or is it more for still, getting page likes and getting people into your community? In your mind, where do video ads work and convert the best?
I think video ads work for anyone that does them right. Again, it's all about grabbing the attention, and it's all about getting to the point. You really, you want to start with a question. You want to have a hook. You want to grab their attention, have that text overlay so that they're going to stop scrolling. Again, you've talked about this, Steve, so many times. Of Facebook is not somewhere someone is searching to get information about a product or a course or anything like that. You're interrupting their scroll. So if you do it right, it can be done for anything. If it's a product and you're showcasing a product, if it a physical product, if it's a course and you're really dropping some good nuggets within the first few seconds or minutes of your video, then it's going to produce. It's just a matter of making sure you get it done right.
Yeah. Okay. So of the ad types, the ones that I am most comfortable with are the plain old display ads, the plain old graphic ad. Now, Facebook does limit, they don't limit quite the same way, but you are limited to essentially 20% of the ad can be text. But those are the ones that I feel most comfortable with. Yes and no. You can do more, but then they reduce the reach and it costs more to reach people.
Yes.
Yeah, there used to be a hard thing where they just wouldn't run an ad, where they wouldn't run an ad, period. If you had more than 20%. But the image ad's still kind of the best place to start for most of us?
I think so. I think because it's the lowest barrier to entry. We can all use Canva. We can all, there's different easy to use tools out there. Even if you're not using Photoshop or something like that, somebody can go and create an image ad very easily and free without a lot of, further investment. So it's the lowest barrier of entry to especially go in and start testing and playing with ads and getting familiar with Ads Manager.
And for a lot of people, they're going to first be exposed to it when they've posted on their business page or their community. They've posted a post, and then they'll see at the bottom, Facebook says, "Do you want to boost this post?" And this is Facebook this is almost the Coke dealer on the corner giving you a taste, right? They just have a little taste of this. But often you have a post that performs well, and Facebook says, "Hey, is there something you'd like to promote to your community?" And it kind of pees me off a little bit, because they say, "Do you want more of the people who've already said they want to see your stuff to see it?" And there's a little bit of on that for a lot of us at this point. But the first confusion with Facebook ads begins, as far as I'm concerned, at that moment, because they say, "Do you want to boost this post?" And a lot of people think that's the way that you create Facebook ads, and you can. But it's not the preferable way, correct?
Yes. Oh, gosh. You don't know how people that I've talked to that say, "I'm running ads and they're not working." And they think that they're running full-blown Facebook ads because they're boosting the post. And I start asking them questions about how they're, setting up their ads. And they say, "Oh, I'm just clicking the boost the post." And I'm like, okay, that's number one right there. That's the worst place.
Throwing money away.
Yeah.
It's donating to Mark Zuckerberg's retirement fund.
His future kids college fund or something. I don't know, but there is a time and a place for it. If you're doing live videos, you can go back in and turn that into an ad to get in front of your audience. If because we all know that organic reach is pretty much dead, right?
Yes.
So there is a place to occasionally, if it's something very important that you want to make sure you get your audience's eyeballs on it, but it's not something that needs to be your sole strategy.
Yes. So if you want to just play a little bit and kind of get started, the boost post will allow you to boost it to your existing audience, or to start to work with a custom audience, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But really, if you're serious about it, you should enter the Facebook Ads Manager, and that's kind of where we should begin our conversation today. We won't talk too much about the boosted post option, because it's not something that we recommend you start with. Instead, it's going to be, you're going to be starting in the Facebook Ads Manager. And you find that by clicking in Facebook on the little triangle in the top right-hand corner, and there you have a thing called Manage Ads. Now, do you have to set up anything? You have to set up some sort of an accounting thing.
Yeah.
It's been so long, I can't remember.
The first time that you log in, if you have never run ads, you'll have to set up your ads manager. And that's just, they want to know who you are. They want to know, obviously, they want your payment information so they can bill that. But once that is set up, it's not something you have to do on a recurring basis, and it walks you through it. So it's pretty simple to do.
Yeah, just a quick question I happened to see going through organic reach. Dal is asking, what is organic reach? Organic reach is reach that happens with your free content that just reaches people through
naturally.
So it hasn't been paid for in any way, shape, or form. And so it's just other information that's been shared, or Facebook has posted into people's news feeds because it's super relevant to whatever you're talking about. And in your personal feed, you won't notice that. But on your pages and in your business feed, you'll see how many people have seen and how many people have been clicked on. That sort of information. That's your organic reach. That's how many people it's reached. Mm-hmm. All right. So when you go into the Ads Manager, you are then immediately overwhelmed, because as soon as you click to create an ad,
yes,
Facebook then brings up this screen here, Facebook brings up. Do I have the screen to show you? Just let me see. I did some screenshots. No, I don't. I'm not going to show you this one right away. But Facebook will ask you if you want to create you'll be presented with campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And it's this hierarchy that we go through, but it's confusing. And even Facebook ads experts don't use it the way Facebook's designed it. So talk to people what campaigns are, ad sets, and ads. And while you're doing that, I'm going to share my screen, because I'll show people a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay. So you want to think of it as kind of a hierarchy. And if you've ever done Google ads, it's the same structure as Google ads. Obviously the terminology is different, but what you are looking at is at the high level is your campaign. You want to think of this as the objective of this ad. So if, the campaign for Webinar Wednesday, our objective is to get people to opt in to come and view the webinar. So this is one funnel. Your campaign needs to be one funnel, one objective, and then you can, further narrow that down when we go into ad sets. So ad sets is where you're going to choose your targeting. So at your campaign level, up at the top, you have your objective, your sales funnel. And then
would be in a case of, let's say that it's to get people to view this webinar. That would be registrations for Webinar Wednesday.
Yep, that would be one campaign. Now, if you wanted to have people opt in for our new freemium that we have going, the your digital legacy, that would be another campaign.
Got it.
That's a whole nother funnel and objective.
Okay, so then underneath the ad, and typically campaigns are a name. You don't do a lot other with it, although you can choose an objective for it, but it's typically just, it's giving you a name so that it all kind of fits under that. Then ad sets and ads get a little bit confusing.
So ad sets are where you are going to choose who you want to see your ad.
Okay.
And then if you've chosen conversion, which we'll go into that a little bit more, that's also where you choose the pixel that you want to fire for, the objective for that pixel. But so ad set is who you want to see your campaign, right?
Got it. So we could say if we were doing that again, going back to this model, let's say we're promoting the webinar, we could then say, okay, the ad sets, we're going to have one for our warm audience, for people who are already on our mail list, et cetera. We'll create an audience around that. And then we'll create a cold ad set where we're going to an interest-based audience. Now, don't worry, we'll talk about what these terms are in a moment, but it's to people who have never heard of Dottotech before. So that would be two separate ad sets so that we could apply budgets to them differently, and we can manage them separately. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
So now we've created ad sets. Now we create the ads themselves.
Yep. So the ad themselves is actually exactly what it sounds. You're setting up your ad, what the visual piece that people are going to see when they're in Facebook. So your creatives, your video or your image, and then you're also going to be inputting the copy or the text that you want on your ad at that point as well.
And the more that you split test at this point here, the more effective you'll be. So trying different images out, trying different copy out, trying different calls to action out, that will all be set in the ad set. Now, when you have a target, say a opt-in page that people are going to, is that set in the ad set or in the ad?
That is set in the ad. So you will actually put that URL in at the last step, which is the ad.
Because ultimately, when you create an ad, for the most part, you want people coming to visit your site. There's still the ability, depending on your objectives, to actually just have a page like or something like that on your say your Facebook page. But that is, for the most part, I think most of us are interested in getting people to our site, to our opt-in page, to sign up for a webinar, to sign up for a freemium download, to ask for more information, to sign up for your mail list, whatever. So in the screen that you see, what we've been talking about, the campaign, that hierarchy of campaign, ad set, and ads are on the left-hand side. As you're walking through it, the wizard will walk you through each stage, and the center of the screen shows the objective, which is what happens almost right away when you start to create an ad. And this is, I think, a place that people crash and burn when they're starting to put together ads, because there's too many options. And they're too freaking confusing.
It's so overwhelming. And it's, they break it down into these three categories of awareness, consideration, and conversion. So 99% of you are going to use one of these, and I'll go into that. But the awareness this is where if you're starting to just generate interest in your product or your page or your service, one consideration for this is, if you just if you're starting a brand new ad account or starting to advertise, the only time I recommend using awareness is at this point. I do recommend starting with a brand awareness. Now, this is going to generate likes and, attention to your page. But I'm not doing this for likes. I'm doing this to actually prove to Facebook that I'm a legitimate advertiser, that I'm going to pay my bill, that I'm going to follow the rules. So a simple 7-day, $5 a day brand awareness campaign can help you get on the right road with Facebook. And that helps you then get your ads approved quicker and at a higher rate, things like that. Other than that, I don't recommend really using either of these.
It's also known as protection.
Protection. And then consideration is the second column that you see there. This is when you want to get people to start thinking about your business and looking into more information about you. So you're not quite actually looking for them to purchase or opt in yet, but they're starting to consider your business. Again, I don't really use any of these other than lead generation is starting to become more. This is a newer objective that Facebook has implemented. You'll see that down at the very bottom. If you are generating leads for your company, this is something to look into. It makes it very user-friendly. It's primarily for mobile devices because what it does is you fill out your ad. If someone clicks and pop up an opt-in, really, I don't even want to call it a form. It's just like this tiny pop-up that's already generated with your name and their name and their email address because Facebook has all that information and they can just one click and opt in. And there's different objectives within this that they can, get a coupon, they can claim an offer, things like that. So they just push a button. They've claimed your offer or your coupon, and now you have their email address.
And some of these do the same thing for most of us. Like lead generation, and in the next column over, conversion is in most mechanical ways very similar. The end result to you and I is very, very similar, where you get an email address and a person giving you permission or asking for something and opting in for something. So there's a little gray area, sometimes a little bit of overlap between these areas.
There is the conversion. So going into the third pillar here, I guess, conversion, this is where people are, the objective is to encourage them to interact and actually purchase from you, your product or service. Conversions, the very top one under conversion, is what 99% of the time everybody should be using. It is the one that you want. Now, lead generation is great in different scenarios, but conversion actually encourages them to interact with you, to really start building that relationship and not just, you're not asking for marriage on the first date with lead generation saying, here's an offer, give me your name and number. With conversion, you can send them to your landing page. You can send them to your website. You can send them to where you're going to develop that relationship more with them and then ask for that information to start and build on that relationship.
Yeah. So conversion is what we use almost all of the time.
Yes.
So those are the ads. Now, once you've decided on the type of ad you create, then you start going through the building process of creating the ad. Mm-hmm. And the next kind of touch point that you reach is starting to deal with your audiences.
Yes.
Is because now if you think about it, you've got an objective that you want people to opt in for your website. You've decided that you're going to create a conversion set. But now you're starting to create the ad sets. And this is the area that I think kind of the next point that people end up stopping often. And the reason that they end up stopping often here, in my opinion, is because this is work, your audience work is work that you should be doing long before you ever start running Facebook ads.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about how audiences happen in Facebook. So these are the people that are going to receive the ads.
Yes. So this is who you want to get in front of. And if you are new, you don't have an email list, you don't have people that have, that you've pixeled that have gone to your site and all of that, you will start, with cold traffic. So there's different ways that you can do that. You can do that based on location, age, gender, and then you get into more of the detailed targeting. So I'm going to split this up because custom audiences is really where you want to get to. But right now, I'm talking to those of you that are brand new and maybe don't have that yet. You want to make sure that your detailed targeting you don't want to just throw a large spectrum in there. So if you're going for, camping, you don't want to just put camping in there because you're going to have a huge audience for that. If you're running a beginner ad, you want to have your audience size between 200,000 and 600,000, no more than 1 million. And you can see that on the right-hand side. It shows you the estimated daily reach. How you do that is in where you see, it's just barely down below the screenshot.
Yeah, I didn't take the screenshot yet.
Detailed targeting, it allows you to include or exclude people from an audience. So you'll want to include camping, but then you're also going to want to include people that say they shop at REI, because that is going to layer it down. And I was playing with this last night, and actually that brought me to 920,000 right there. Yep. Detailed targeting.
So yeah. But this is a term called that, which also they say interest-based targeting. So you target an audience that you don't know yet, but that Facebook has identified is interested.
Yeah.
And getting down to specifics, like as Jen was saying, of like camping, outdoors, kind of putting in those things, that's going to help. But there's another little kind of way that you can approach this, which is you can choose to target people who have indicated an interest in liking somebody that's similar to you.
Yes.
So you see here, one of the ones that comes up right away is Amy Porterfield. Amy Porterfield's community is very similar to my community. And so often when I'm targeting ads, I'll target them to Amy's or to Marie Forleo's, people who are interested in the same things. And James Wedmore's, Lewis Howes, you see people coming up because these are people that we've used before. This is targeting that we've done before. So you can also target other people's communities. Now, if Dottotech was a little bit bigger, people could target the Dottotech community. They do it on YouTube all the time in a very similar way.
Yep.
So you've got lots of different options here. And I don't want to get down too much in the weeds here, Jen, but you can have lots of different options for creating custom audiences based on what Facebook knows about the people. That's the first way, right? So creating an audience from what Facebook knows. But far more relevant, and I think far more important for most of us, is creating an audience from people who we already know. So will you talk us through that?
Yes. So creating an audience from people that you already know, that's creating custom audiences. So these...
By the way, what we're looking at right here is our actual, I've brought up on the screen, and I know it's not going to be seen as cleanly as because just of the size of the screen. But this is our real ads manager for Dottotech. So you're seeing our stuff. So when I'm opening up audiences here, these are our real audiences.
Okay. Yes. Okay. This is perfect to show them. So your real audiences or your custom audiences, those come from, you can upload your email list. You can create lookalike audiences. That's kind of a subset of custom audiences that if you upload your email list and create an audience based on that, you can then create a lookalike audience off of your email list that Facebook, based on all of the little technical things that they track on us, they can go and say, okay, here's your email list and here's people that, match their activity online. They match their demographic, their income, their location. It's amazing how precise these lookalike audiences are. But that's a great way, if you have a small email list, to upload that email list and create that lookalike audience that will be a much larger audience than what you might already have. So
let's just show them. So this is the real Dottotech deal. So this IS is Infusionsoft. So this is not everybody that's on our mail list. This is all of the people from our mail list. What I did is I exported all the email addresses and then I uploaded them into Facebook. Yes. Facebook then looks for email addresses that coincide with people who have Facebook accounts. So out of our list out of our total mail list, 26,400 people had email accounts that were related to a Facebook account. So that gives us a list of those people. Now we could market directly to those people. If I just wanted to promote something to our community, I could do it just by using this list. But then we took this list, and actually I dated it wrong. I said it was April. It actually should have been said June. But I took that list, and then I said, make a lookalike audience of people in North America, Australia, Europe, the UK, New Zealand that speak English,
and Canada,
and create a list from that. And so this is the lookalike audience. Already 3 million people who have similar tastes
Yeah.
Based on Facebook to this. So this now is an audience that I can start to use in our Facebook ads, and we can add more parameters to it when we go to run the ad. But this is where kind of a little bit more sophisticated method of targeting people who you have a better chance of resonating with, if that makes sense.
Yes. And your costs are going to be lower because your click-through rate is going to be higher and your relevance score is going to be higher.
Yes.
These are all terms you may or may not be familiar with, but just know that these custom audiences are going to cost you less than obviously going and targeting cold traffic.
And just this might be interesting, and we're kind of showing all of our laundry out. But when we were promoting our last course, which was on promoting webinars, on developing great webinars, I created audiences based on social media celebrities and social media webinar experts. And we created custom audiences based on what other people who were promoting their webinar courses or their webinar tutorials, and we advertised to those people. This is totally legit. There's nothing wrong with this. They're doing it with us as well. So that's kind of the sophistication of building your audiences.
Yep. Yes.
Now, I think the next thing I want to talk about is this, which are the website custom audiences, because this is where it starts. We start to talk about the Facebook pixel, and this is where we get down into the really granular and really valuable aspect of knowing who's clicked and visited our page, what pages they've indicated interest in. And so these are the people who are kind of your raving fans, or people that know a lot about you because they've been visiting your resources. So let's talk about the Facebook pixel now and how we create these, which I think you should be, even if you're not planning on running Facebook ads for a couple of months or maybe a year, you should still be creating a Facebook custom pixel and putting it on your webpage and starting to build this audience.
The second you have a Facebook page, or the second you have a website, you need to have a pixel on it, whether you're advertising or not. Just do it.
The reason is,
if you take anything out of this today, just go put a pixel on your website, because it doesn't matter if you're advertising now or later. You start collecting that data from the moment that you have that pixel on. So if 6 months down the line, you decide, you know what, I do want to advertise, you have that data to come in and create the custom audiences right off the bat, even if you don't have an email list.
So these numbers represent people who have visited our website in the last 180 days and in the last 30 days. So these are two distinct audiences that have fired off the pixel on our page. And that means, here, I'll just go to Dottotech just to show you. So when you visit dottotech.com, we have a Facebook pixel on our page, on all of our pages. And if you look here, it's going to be tiny. But you see here, there's a little tool that I have in the menu bar here. This is a Facebook pixel helper. So this tells me what pixels are firing on the page. And this is our Facebook pixel. So if any of you go and visit our page right now and you have Facebook open, it's going to then fire this pixel, and it's going to tell us in our custom audience that you visited the page, and then you are going to become a retargeting target for our website custom audience. I hope we've made that clear.
Yes. You and you can get that free pixel helper too. It's just a free.
Yeah, it's just a tool that helps us know that it's been done properly. Whereas back to the ads manager. There we go. So that is the Facebook custom pixel. So when you're creating your ads, you then choose to target some combination, some cocktail of all of these audiences. That's really where the magic starts to happen with Facebook, right?
Yes. Yes. Because so when the pixel, what it is, it's an analytic tool, right? It allows you to track the traffic. It allows you to reach the right people. You can, once you have your pixel firing and you're gathering that audience, you can drive more sales because you're able to set up more automatic bidding to target the people that are actually shown to take action and make a purchase. And then you also get more results. You have more results in your reports, and you can see with the setting up your custom conversions is another piece that you'll want to look into, because that shows you, based on the ad that you're running, if you have your event code set up, it will automatically show you this ad has generated this many sales. This ad has generated this many leads.
So that's a huge part of the Facebook equation, is making sure that you aren't just firing off ads, spending money, and not getting proper reporting back. The mature And the responsible way to run Facebook ads is to know what's happening with your ads at all time and know how well they're performing and know what your return on investment is. And it's going to be surprisingly expensive. Like acquiring leads we used to be able to get them for under $1 each. Anybody that gets somebody opting in for a program under $1 each, that's hard to do. So now your business has to say, what is an acquisition in this area worth to me? Like if I'm teaching a course that costs $300, what percentage of people that opt in into my sales funnel will purchase that course? And if it's 1 in 100, if I'm spending $2 per acquisition and the course sells for $300, I'm making $100 profit every time I spend $200. But if it's 1 in 300 and it's costing me $300 to get $300 in return, it's not such a good deal, is it, anymore? We're just basically working for Facebook at that time, making them money. So you've got to know, so understanding all of your numbers, all of your analytics becomes increasingly important. And here it becomes a little bit overwhelming, to be perfectly honest with you. It does become overwhelming. And I think it's important for everybody to understand this process and to do it if you are going to run Facebook ads yourself. But ultimately, I think anybody that's serious about it is at some point going to say, I'm going to bring an expert on to run these ads for me, because it will, it's a full-time job to stay on top of it. So, but just like using your CRM and other things, my philosophy is the content marketers have to know the process and understand all of the different touch points in order to effectively manage our team and decide how well our money is being spent, because you're the one spending the money, even though you're going to be hiring somebody to do it. So I'm sorry to jump all over that.
No, I completely agree that, there are different campaigns that you can run that you could probably do yourself and do just fine. If you're wanting to really set up a funnel to generate leads and sales and do it the right way for the lowest cost, you definitely want to have it, like Steve said, you want to have an idea of the process, but to stay on top of all of the techniques that are, driving more leads, lowering your costs, things like that, definitely find somebody that you can trust and to do it for you. It's something, Steve, we talked about this, that to really be an expert in Facebook ads, you need to be doing it full time every single day. And a good majority of that time is spent learning every single day and testing and adjusting. And
knowing what the rhythm is, how often you should be making changes, how incremental those changes are. That's all part of it. So here's what I want to do now. We've kind of walked through the process. If we look at what my goals were at the beginning, I wanted to make sure you understood the type of ads, how audiences, and how the pixel works. We've touched on that all now, and there's a ton of questions. So I'm going to get to the questions. I think what we'd like to do is we're 20 minutes left in the talk. We'll go beyond the top of the hour because I know that it'll take us longer to get through all the questions, and there seems to be a lot of interest. But before I do that, I just want to fill you guys in on what's happening next week and the questions. So next week, our webinar is going to be Browser Mania. We're going to be talking about customizing your web browser for fun and productivity. That's going to be a good one. All of the little add-ons that you can add to Chrome and to Firefox and to Safari that make your browser more fun to use, and also we'll concentrate a little bit on productivity there. And then in 2 weeks, we've got a really special thing happening. Brooks Duncan is returning. He's going to join me, and we're going to talk about the paperless office. And we're actually at that point, they're going to be reopening and our course. We're going to be opening a new cycle of a course that Brooks and I developed 2 years ago and refreshed last year, called The Paperless Office Made Easy, where we actually walk people through going paperless and all the best practices. And if you've ever been in one of our webinars with Brooks, he is the man when it comes to paperless office. So I'm thrilled to have Brooks back. And we've had a lot of interest in the paperless office course, so we're happy to reopen the doors and to bring that back. And we'll be releasing that in 2 weeks as well. Now remember, this replay here on Facebook ads expires after 48 hours. You can watch the replay for 48 hours. We'll be sending out an email shortly after with the replay link. And then after that, the replay is available to our patrons and Patreon, which I'll just briefly fill you in on. the way that we do Webinar Wednesday, the way that we run things here in Dottotech is these webinars are free, and I think there's great value in them. But the reason that we're able to do it this way is because we've got tremendous support from a crowdfund, our community at Patreon. And all of you who are patrons, big hug to you, and thank you very much for supporting the team here at Dottotech. But that's how we're able to produce these free tutorials. So if there's value in this, and you want to be able to get back and see some of the older webinars and learn from what we've created there, and some of them we've turned into full-blown mini courses. The patrons at Patreon, if you contribute to $10 a month, you get access to all of our webinar archives, which this is the 22nd of these free tutorials that we've put together. And there are other benefits as well. The other benefits include access to Evernote Made Easy, which, by the way, everybody who's a patron now has access to, and they'll have access to the new version of the course. But we've just started the production for the new version of Evernote Made Easy, version 3, which we're going to be releasing in August. And at that point there, we're actually going to be pulling Evernote Made Easy from the perks. You'll still have access to it. Anybody who is a patron and is in will be grandfathered in, but it's not going to be offered as a new perk to new people signing up, and we're changing the price. We're increasing the price because it's such a darn good course. So that's going to be expiring in about a month. You also get access to all of our Webinar Wednesday archives and 50% off on all of our premium courses. So as well as hugs should you see us in person. So the reason that we're here, the reason we're able to do this is because of the tremendous support we get from you. Our community supports, that's watching here, supports our community, which is the team, which includes Jen and April, who's in the room with us now, and Liz, who does all of our graphics, and Sophie, who does all of our copywriting. So that all of that comes together for Team Dottotech to allow us to continue to create, I think, valuable content. And we're able to do that because of your support, in which we appreciate big time. So with that, let's answer your questions and get into the Q&A.
Yay.
Part. All right.
Yes,
so here's what I'm going to do, Jen, is I'm going to jump over into the control room, and I'm going to work through the questions from the bottom up. Okay. So, and we'll tag team these. My wife tried a Facebook ad yesterday to direct traffic to an Etsy account, but Facebook blocked it. Why is that? So many reasons. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah. Oh, without seeing the ad and what what the objective was, what the creative piece was, it's really, really hard to know. It could have been
too much copy on the actual ad itself. Facebook will allow you to drive to most commercial sites, but there might not have been a logical link between your account and the Etsy site. There could have been a few different things. So you're just going to have to puzzle through that. No clear answer. Do you pay for video? So Chad's asking, do you pay for video ads if it shows up in the feed or after 3 seconds, or what exactly? So when you're paying for video ads?
You're paying for video views. So you're paying for anybody that's 3 seconds or beyond. That's that's what is considered a video view. To me, that's really quick. I don't think 3 seconds is, but it is what it is. So that is when you're setting it up for video views, you're paying per view.
Okay. Scott asked if we could explain how Facebook ads work before getting into which kind is best. I am hoping we covered that off. Yeah. Dal asked, what is organic reach? We did that. Brent asked, can Facebook ads go directly to a landing page? And I've seen this question several times. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, whether you're going to pay more if it's going just to a landing page that's simply a sales page versus if you're going to a landing page, if your landing page is actually a blog post or, you're providing value. Facebook looks at all of that. They have really moved away from sending people straight to sales pages. They charge you more and they aren't going to perform as well.
Yes.
So sometimes that's going down a rabbit hole of what does your funnel look like?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And I know that we'll preemptively answer this question. People asked earlier when we were talking about the pixel. There were several questions which, if you don't have a website, but you have a landing page and opt-in page, can you drop the Facebook pixel, conversion pixel on those pages? For the most part, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I do know.
If you use lead pages for Webinar Jam, all of those different types of landing pages, yes, you can.
Yeah. Majority of them you can. I do know, I wish I could remember what it was called. I worked with a client that they had, it was a email or a landing page generating platform, and you couldn't put a pixel on it. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, and they're not going to survive.
No.
Mike says, silly question. How do you get into campaigns from your Facebook admin page? Campaigns are just, you're into campaigns automatically because it's just the very first level that's giving you in the analytics. So the campaign it shouldn't have its own name, I think, because it's just one field that you enter basically, right?
Well, you do have your dashboard. So when you're running ads, you do go into your dashboard and that shows you all of your campaigns in one spot. And then you click over and it's campaigns. So it is a little redundant to me. I think they could definitely combine it.
Will this work for realtors? Absolutely. Gary says, do you need to use a business page or can you use a personal page?
You want to use a business page. Yep.
In order to make use of Facebook ads, so you need to first set up a business account? Yes.
Gary,
yeah. A asks, as a newbie, please do a class on how I know when your marketing is working, Avram. There's a big equation that you have to go into. The Facebook ads are a very small part. And what you spend on Facebook ads has to then relate into what your whole business objective and how profitable your business is downstream. And it all comes down to how much that lead is worth. Yep. But that's a good idea. We'll try and flesh this out a little bit more. Chuck says, what is pixeled? You've been pixeled if you visited a web page that has a Facebook pixel or any tracking pixel on it. And it just basically, no, it doesn't identify you, the individual. It just identifies your session or your IP address.
Your IP address, yeah.
So that later on, when you go to another site, different types of content can be served to you. Is Dottotech still on YouTube? We don't see any new stuff in weeks. I know, Renee, we've been so busy with delivering the course. We did a webinar course, but there'll be new videos coming very, very shortly. Yes, it's been, I bit off more than I can chew. Okay. Rayvara says, when does Facebook decide that your audience is too small?
Oh, what is the limit? Under 1,000, I believe it won't generate. So, I don't know. Let me Google the exact.
Okay.
Minimum audience size.
You can have a pretty small audience. For hyperlocal, you can have a pretty darn small audience. You
do run into
for local ads and stuff, yeah.
Yep. You do run into, showing them too many times and really wearing out your audience if you're,
Yeah. For example, I made a video about my company and buy ads. What is the best buy? To reach a lot of people also buying ads that is also successful to get more likes. Kind of lost that train of that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that one went.
Brett says, can you put a pixel on a Squarespace site or is it WordPress only? I think it should be able. It's just a header code. Yeah. I'm sure I don't have it for 100%. Maybe somebody that uses Squarespace can tell us, but I'd be shocked and appalled if Squarespace didn't allow you to use the pixel.
As long as you have access.
99.99% certain that you can. You just have to put, it's just a bit of JavaScript that goes in the header.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took this question from Chris, so I hope it's okay. I also want to know what is a pixel and how do I create one? So in the Facebook Ads Manager is where you create the pixel, and it's just an automatic thing. There's a code in there, and there are so many tutorials online about this now. We didn't mention some of the people who we like to use, who we turn to, but John Loomer is probably the god of Facebook pixels. He has a 1-month course on just the Facebook pixel. So looking up some of his stuff, that'll give you the basic explanations. Mari Smith, who else do you like, Jen?
I default to John Loomer. His blog is, without paying for information, if you go to John Loomer, digital marketing, there's a great podcast, Digital Marketer. They talk about it a lot too, but they're more funnels and the whole process. I default to John Loomer if you're just looking for Facebook ad information.
Good. Ray Vera also asked, can I put a Facebook pixel on my MailChimp newsletter? There'd be no point.
No.
It's because they're already on your mail list at that point there. I mean, you could track opens and there's other metrics that you want to do, but the Facebook pixel doesn't serve you there. Joanne says, pixel, you said that a person needs to have Facebook open when they visit the Dottotech page. Does the pixel activate when they visit your page without Facebook open? I'm not positive about that.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
It used to not though, right? Or am I mistaken?
I don't remember I don't think I think it used to not, but as long as it's there's so much tracking. I think if you went in and you had an incognito window, or you just cleared your browser history and your cache, then it might cause a problem.
Okay.
But there's so many things that are tracked. You guys would be very, very surprised.
Thank you, Iska and others who confirm that you can have pixels in Squarespace. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Was that John Loomer? It's not John, it's Jon Loomer.
Yep, Jon. Looks like Tanya just put it in there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you, Tanya. Okay. Steve's asking about the confusion between a personal page and so if I have a page for my business off my personal page, is that the same different from having a business account?
So your personal page is what you set up Facebook with. It's what you log into and you see your friends and your family and everything in your news feed. A business page is what you'll need to have set up. You can create a page and then you go into Ads Manager and create your ads account. So your business page is off of your personal page, and then your Ads Manager is off of your business page.
Okay. Rivera asks, would you recommend a split of a fixed budget or more ads that are adjusted for smaller audiences, or would it be better to spend the same budget on smaller amounts of ads? So budget, basically how you assign your budget.
That's going to depend on your objective. Mm-hmm. Without really knowing what the whole picture is. I would say I would keep budget in fewer buckets and get those buckets precise before I go into, putting more ads out there personally.
Roberta's asking if there's just one pixel that you get and that you use for everything. And that's what I've been doing, and put it on my pages to track.
Yes.
Yes. And you also can create things called custom conversions, where you take the same pixel and you modify a little bit within the pixel to make it identify for different areas for reporting. But there is just one pixel that you use over and over again. Yes.
Yep. And you use it for all of your ads. So every ad account has one pixel for all of their ads. So if you have a Shopify store and then you also have a website, you're going to have the same pixel code on each of those websites. Then there's things that are called event codes. And that's what Steve was kind of talking about, that you'll want to look into and make sure, especially on your e-commerce sites, that you have your sale event code and your sale price event code, things like that set up so the tracking is effective. But yes, one pixel, all sites, all ads.
Yeah. So Rivera is also asking, we're still posting anything on YouTube? Yes, we are. Just we've been a little bit lax lately. You're saying boosting posts a waste of time. Are you saying that boosting a post is a waste of time and money?
Don't ever boost it. Let me just say this. Don't ever boost a post to a cold audience.
Yes. You can, if you choose to boost a post, like I boosted a post, I will occasionally boost the promo post for this webinar.
Yep.
But I know who it's going to, and it's just amplifying its reach a little bit. And I never throw very much money, like $20 to get a few more people. But it's quick and convenient. And it's not my strategy. It's a convenience when I use it. I hope that works. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Scott's asking, what's the problem with too much copy in an ad? Facebook just doesn't want a bunch of text. They don't want it to be an ad. They want it to be, I think they just wanted the feed to look clean, although they've messed that up recently with all these color things and GIFs and all of that sort of stuff.
Oh, no. Now, and just to follow up on that, we were talking about on the image specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
Not necessarily the copy.
You can write as long a post as you want. It's just on the graphic itself. Mm-hmm. Yes. John says, where do you get all the analytics when a campaign is over?
Right inside of your Ads Manager.
Yeah, right inside Facebook Ads Manager. It's all there. And here, I'll do a quick screen share and show you that just really super quickly. Let me just do a quick screen share here. There we go. And Ads Manager. Come on, Ads Manager.
There you go.
There it is.
You're there.
So here you see, this is one that we're running currently. So that's the campaign. So this is, and you can see how many people we've converted. Now the conversions here aren't 100% accurate because of the way it's set up. We're having some issues with it. How much we spent on it.
If you click up, you're on campaigns right now, look to the left and go to account overview. Right there. Yep. This will also show you some different analytics about, this is your whole account overview, impressions, your reach, link clicks. These are the things that you're really going to want to look at and evaluate. If you want to go per ad level, then that's where you would go into your campaigns and ad sets.
Yeah. So you can see we don't spend very much right now, but because we're just list building, we're building for the future with some of our content right now. But here's a boosted post that I did for today's webinar. So we shared it a little bit extra. We had 51 people engage. It cost us 39 cents per engagement. And we actually got about 25 people who hadn't seen a Dottotech webinar before signed up as a result of the $20 I spent. So it was actually money really well spent in this particular case. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go back to the questions now. Although there's new questions coming in all the time. Are you going to create a course on Facebook ads for newbies? I don't think so, Araxi. There are lots of people that do that, and there are good courses out there. I don't think we're expert enough. Jen might be, but I don't know if that's going to be useful for time.
Yeah, I did. If I had more time, I would love to. Steve said there's a lot of people out there that have done it already and are very good.
Gavin says, I thought booking a post was Facebook advertising. I'm not sure what you mean by booking a post.
I think he meant boosting.
Boosting? It is. It is a form of advertising, but it's just not the most effective, as we've said. Mm-hmm. Can you do all this from a mobile app?
You do have your ads manager on your mobile app, but I would definitely recommend setting it up, getting things set up on your desktop.
Gavin also asks, how do you select a page you want to advertise? Once you reach the ads level, you're able to choose what your links go to.
Yep.
John Loomer's spelling is JONLOOMER. Are pixels removed when you clear cookies? Yes. Yes. Yep. But they've already registered. See, it's not that they don't live on your browser. They don't track you like a cookie. Instead, when you visit a page, the pixel fires and the information goes to Facebook. At that point there, it's fait accompli. You've been marked. You've got the stamp from entering the pub on your hand or entering the club on your hand. Okay? So pixels aren't something that you remove from your cache the same way as cookies. Gary says, do you have any suggestions of companies to help me doing Facebook ads? No, we don't at this point here. That's not something that we would feel comfortable with. We just don't know enough about them. Sorry. You're going to have to do some research, a little word of mouth. Maybe some people can offer recommendations of people they've worked with here in the group. Or the Dottotech, that's a thing that you could easily post on the Dottotech page on Facebook looking for people, and then I'm sure you'll get recommendations there.
Yeah.
Michelle asked, do you advise placing Facebook ads for a startup like mine with no audience?
Facebook ads for a startup like yours with no audience.
Yes, if you have if you can define an audience, if you can feel comfortable that there's a certain demographic that you can reach with you, if your product is well enough defined that you can create an avatar, a customer avatar that you want to reach, yes.
Yep, exactly. As long as you know who your audience is and who you're trying to get in front of, yes, you can go in and get in front of them.
Yeah, but just for awareness and just if you're throwing money at the wall hoping something sticks, no. Jeff, how do I find a competent person to manage this for me? Word of mouth is going to be the best way there. Yeah. And also, here's the goal of today's webinar, is we want you to know enough that you recognize if somebody is...
If they know what they're talking about.
As you're interviewing them, as you're working with them, and as you're doing your first ad sets. That's why I recommend that you try and run them first yourself. Get confused, get lost, get a few answers, figure some things out.
And you don't have to spend a lot of money, just a couple dollars a day, just play with them. Because honestly, a good Facebook ads campaign, obviously, they're going to, someone's going to know more how to play more effectively. But that's essentially what setting up a good campaign is too. You go in and you put in your objectives that you think you reassess in a couple of days or in a week, and then you readjust. It's going to be the same thing. Just do it at a lower scale. Do it, for a few dollars a day.
Yep. Scott's asking, what does a boost do actually? It just basically exposes your post to more people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and a boost is done right on your page. It's not something that you can go in and do a boost inside an audience manager, or ads manager, but you will see on your business page, it'll say boost post. And a lot of times you'll get notifications and they say, this post is performing better than 80% of your other stuff. Boost it for $20 to get in front of this many more eyeballs. So you're paying for eyeballs is what you're doing.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my camera back on when I came out. But it is the top of the hour. So I'm going to let people know. I'm just going to put a button on it. We will answer all the questions that are here, so don't worry. But in case anybody has to leave now because of schedule, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Yes. Remember to join us again next week when we're going to be talking about tools and plugins for your browsers. And in 2 weeks when we're going to be talking about going paperless, all the techniques you need to go paperless with the lovely and talented Brooks Duncan. Jen, you worked so hard on this. I have to thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody that has to go now, have fun storming the castle. And for everybody else, we will wrap things up. Alan says, is there a way for free ads? Yes, they're called posts.
And they don't work anymore.
Roberta says, I disappeared. I'm back now. How does VPN impact tracking Pixel? Does it block it? A VPN?
No, it shouldn't.
It does.
No,
it just blocks where you're coming from to location services. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it does. And I'm not sure how privacy, there are ways that you can mask your privacy, but I'm not too sure how all those work. I can't tell you for sure. Jim, can you tell us how to make a Facebook personal page into a business page? I have no interest in asking my hundreds of friends to like and follow different page or to run multiple pages.
You can duplicate your personal profile into a business page. Google it because I don't know exactly how to do it. But I did that. I took my personal page that had 3,000 people on it, duplicated it, and it made it into a business page as well. Yeah.
And that's something you can definitely Google, and there's YouTube videos on that. That's a YouTube thing.
It's the best technique, honestly, but.
Okay. Roberta says, what does it cost to hire someone? A guesstimate. You can answer that better than I, Jan.
Yeah. So there's different strategies that Facebook ads managers use. A good rule of thumb is look for someone that is willing to work with you for, maybe 10 to 15% of your ad spend. You don't want to be paying 50% of your ads. If you're spending $100 in ads, you don't want to be paying someone $100 to run the ads. It's so. At that level, before you hire someone, you're really going to want to make sure, again, you're familiar with it, the process, and you're spending a little bit of money, or else it's not going to be worth your time to spend the extra money to hire someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that is, it depends. If you're creating all the creative for the ad and you're doing all of the work and they're just doing the audiences, that's one price. Another service you go to might actually create the creative for you. They might do the ad itself. That's going to be a different price. But basically speaking, you have to recognize that the bulk of your revenue of your costs should go to promoting those ads to an audience on Facebook.
Yeah.
I see Chad commented that VPN shouldn't affect it. And thank you, Chad, for being a little more clear. It isn't exactly IP based, he says. And it's a little bit too technical to go into, but you're still going to be getting if they're clicking on it, you're still going to get them. That's good. Seth says, since ads cost depend on reach and views, what if it gets too expensive? Can you turn it off if it becomes too expensive? Yeah, you've always got control over that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why, you don't fire it off and then just forget about it. I check it every day. And in the past, when we had a little more granular control, I checked it about every 6 hours. But I'm not getting quite as much control now. If the pixel is removed from my browser, am I still part of any remarketing efforts? Yeah, Tom, because here's what happens. You visit my page. Tom comes to Dottotech. As soon as Tom hits Dottotech and visits the page for the first time, the Facebook pixel fires off and it sends Tom's Facebook identity information into my custom list. Now, I can't go through and pick you out and know you individually, but you're on my list now, so that when I create an ad and I say I want to send it to people who have visited my webpage, you will get that ad when you're in Facebook. If Facebook decides that you're on that, that if Facebook decides to deliver. Everybody on that list doesn't get it unless I'm willing to pay the amount that Facebook's asking. But there's a chance then that you're going to be targeted by the ad. That's how it works. Once you're on the list, you're on the list.
Yep. And
you can actually say, I don't want to see ads like this. You have control. And if you block the ad, then you won't get any more ads from me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely.
Roberta, you are so right. The pricing structure for ads is confusing. I've paid thinking I was paid up and then got another bill. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's 14 to 30 days behind. So you can run your ads for 2 weeks and then all of a sudden get hit with the bill.
Yeah. It's how they take the money out. It can be a little bit confusing and it can get expensive if you're not careful. That's it for the questions. Oh, another one coming in. Can you put not to exceed amount? Yeah, you can set a budget. You can say $50 and that's it. And that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can always restart it again if it was successful. But that's a way to do it. Yeah. We don't spend a lot. We're very careful with how we spend it. But I'm always spending a little bit to continually build our list because I'm always looking for cold traffic coming in. But I know that getting people into the overall Dottotech ecosystem for under $2 per person means that at the end of the year, when I look at my revenue, I can directly relate how many people are on our mail list to how much money I've made, and they grow in concert. So for me, these leads, it makes it worthwhile. I'd like to be even more specific, but it works. Okay. Can you? Yeah. Chuck asks if you cannot put sorry to ask again, but just to confirm, do you start a business page from your personal page or completely open a separate Facebook profile for the business? Tracy, I would recommend you start a separate one for the business. You still have to use your account. Once you sign in, your personal page is still attached to it. Yeah. Your personal page is still attached. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would recommend. Would you agree with that, Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you don't need to open another Facebook account. You just click, there's a button that says create a page.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yep. Araxi, how do you terminate an ad? You just go into your ads manager and just say stop. There's just a little radio switch that you just click over it and says stop.
Stop. Yep. And make sure you do it at the campaign level. If you go in and you have different ad sets running and you're under the ad level and pause an ad, you're not pausing everything. So if you want to pause the whole thing, make sure you're doing it on the campaign level.
Got it. Bren asks, can you have more than one business page? Yes.
Absolutely.
Roberta, are there different parts to your budgets? Are there different parts to your budgets though? Here, there's a cap. Are there more charges? No, if you put a cap on, if you said $50 on Facebook ads, they should not be able to charge you for more than $50.
No.
Yeah. No. If you say ongoing and then you turn it off after you've been billed, but it's been running for 2 days after that bill went out, you'll get charged for that extra 2 days. Mike says, what percentage would you do Facebook versus Google ads? Right now, we do 100% Facebook ads, but that doesn't mean that that's the best mix. I think it's just that
it really depends on your goal. I think, for example, we have a client that is a very large e-commerce client. They do probably 75% Google ads and 25% Facebook ads.
Yeah.
It depends on your product and your objective.
Do pixels work with Thinkific? Absolutely. Tom, is there an alternative to Facebook and Google? Sure, you can add. Well, Facebook ads also run on Instagram, and you can also run ads now on Pinterest. There's lots of different options, but Facebook and Google are the two that tend to convert best for most people. Is there a direct telephone number to contact Facebook? Not that I've ever.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. Is a business page different than a fan page? Oh, we're getting the pages. Oh. Brent is asking.
So, yeah, not really, no. It just depends when you set up that page. It's what purpose did you set the page? You have different things. You can say it's a brand or it's a store or it's a location, that type of thing. So essentially, no, it's not.
And Chad points out a great thing. He says Facebook ads versus Google ads depends on if you're targeting people looking for solutions or not. Google searchers are looking for a solution and Facebook peeps are just chilling. Great point, Chad. And part of Google ads now is YouTube ads. And that's a whole different can of worms and a whole different opportunity, which is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great questions.
Yeah, it's been a good. So how you feel, Jen?
Good.
Your first content expert stint on Dottotech.
Yay! Steve finally let me out from behind the shadows.
Yeah, you still have a job tomorrow, so that's good news.
That's good. Yeah. That is good.
Excellent. Listen, everybody, thanks so much. Just a reminder that we'll get this replay out as quickly as we can after. And any of you who are, make sure you view it within 48 hours. If you want to share it with any of your friends, go ahead, but know that it's only going to be available for 48 hours after, except for our supporters on Patreon. Keep your eye open for the email newsletter. Tomorrow will be the first chance to register for next week's webinar on web browser tools, and then we'll, in 2 weeks, as I'm saying, looking forward to doing something on the paperless office. So you guys have been great. Jen, rock star. April, who is working hard in the control room. Thank you very much for handling all of the chat. It was a great and engaged audience. I think it was a lot of fun today. It was a good webinar around. Good job all around. So till next time, you get to do the sign off, Jen.
Until next time, have fun storming the castle.